Poverty League seems to be upon us all, everybody. Have you noticed it? I'm not even sure if it's because of a lack of mercs, like some people have been saying, although it certainly doesn't help. People have been suggesting it might actually be because Breach seems to be blocking certain things, although I'm not sure how they would have tested that. Either way, first things first, welcome back, beautiful bastards. The name is Wolf. This is a update video to my Holy Relic League Starter experience. We have done complete map completion right now, unique and regular on pretty much no gear. Pretty much the same gears we had before. I did some minor upgrades because right now I have this position where I have to make swinging changes in either one direction or another. And there's 3 different directions, and based on what I want to do, I can choose a direction. So I have to find out what kind of farming strats I want to employ, but because of the Poverty League, nothing really seems super exciting. I mean, Val Temple, which is one of my favorite farms, or used to be one of my favorite farms, is no longer relevant because they butchered it like a couple of leagues ago, right? Tile set farming completely butchered as well last league, or the league before that even, where they made it so that rituals no longer spawn the exiles with the reward systems, and the rewards themselves seem to be adjusted. It's been quite problematic. I'm trying to experiment with some stuff, but it's not looking too good other than just farming maps, which is what I've been doing. Luckily enough, I've been able to farm a considerable amount of tier 17 maps and tier 16.5 maps, which are, of course, the memory maps, for those who are wondering. But either way, it seems quite troublesome. I'm keeping an eye on the updates and so. I'm not sure if you guys have some insight there, but it definitely seems like it's a little short on all sides, except running maps very quickly, doing the blight, getting the blood, moving out Gamba on the tree. That seems to be what most folks seem to be doing, and a lot of people are getting ridiculous amounts of profit from that. Have you guys seen that one screenshot of like somebody getting a stack of divines? A stack of divines, which is insane, because I'm over 500,000, sorry, not over 500,000, I'm over 250,000, approaching 500,000 kills. Guess how many divines I have had drop? Guess. Type it in, type it below, or just say it in your head. What's the number you think I've had? You got it? Good. It's 1. It's exactly 1. I have had 1 natural drop happen. The second and only second divine I've had, because I've only found 2 so far in the entire league, was from the tree. So 1 natural on the map, 1 on the tree. That's it. It definitely feels like it's a Poverty League, and not even because of the lack of mercs. People have been indeed suggesting, or perhaps musing on the fact that Blight itself might be interfering with something. Like if you juice your maps, you're actually wasting currency or type of things. I'm not sure. The forums are wild with the tinfoil hats. But what is not tinfoil hatty is, of course, my build. So let's talk a little bit about the nitty-gritty and how I've changed the build so far before we actually start making those swinging changes. Let us talk a little bit about the nitty-gritty. There's not much to say except for a very few specific things. For example, I'm level 94. If you want to keep hanging along with me on Holy Relic, I am going to be switching things soon. At least that's my plan if I keep going at it, because I want to switch to either a spectreless version or perhaps a mind over matter version, since everything else seems to be a little too specific and spicy for me in terms of price. And I don't know if you guys have experienced it so far, but the currency has been quite dry. So I have not upgraded my weapon yet. I haven't felt the need. I am pretty much using the exact same damage that I've had since I left the campaign, except for the fact that I added a bunch of jewels that gave me more poison chance. Still use the same hat, pretty similar shield. I am waiting to get the unique shield, which is of course the surrender, but the Foulborns are in the way. So it's been quite a bit of a pain in the butt to get like an affordable one, since they go up in price extraordinarily quickly, and yet they're all Foulborn. So I'm actually considering maybe crafting my own minion shield with some life, minion gem, minion damage, minion resistances, and of course, and most importantly, the life gain on hit, which I believe is a Shaper mod. Don't quote me on that. It's one of the guys with the mods who gives you the thing. On top of that, I'm still using a Carnage Heart, which is no longer necessary since we switched recently to the Jewel. So I need to actually wait for a new necklace. I'm actually thinking maybe getting the Dragon Necklace. Otherwise, of course, the dream is to get the Ashes, but Ashes rather expensive. Every single time we get close to it, in terms of currency farm, it gets a couple of divine more expensive. It's like a chicken and the egg is rolling a lot faster than the chicken is running, which is very impressive in its own right. We have not one but two bone gems or bone rings. I want to switch one of them into an amethyst ring or both, possibly. But depending on if I keep the specters or not, and the AG for that matter. But yeah, otherwise it's just life resistances and some minion stats. And of course the mana craft, which we want two of, so we can get a very, very, very cheap Lancing, which is now still 9 mana, but turning into 2 mana would be kind of sick. Still use the same 6 link. I'm waiting for Dialas to go down in price if they ever do. It doesn't seem like it, so rip me. We have a slightly better armor base here with some resistances and life. I want to get a hybrid armor evasion based or a pure energy shield base if I want to go the mind over matter way. I'm not yet sure on that, so I've not really been going forward with either plan. But otherwise, just resistances and life. The boots are kind of nice, though. As you can see, they are triple resist, which one of them is... one of them is chaos. We have solid life, a little bit of evasion, and of course the immunity to chill. If I don't go energy shield, this is probably what I want, but on a hybrid base. Otherwise, we would need the energy shield base version, but probably a very similar thing, except for no chaos rest, because we could go chaos inoculation that way, which is also very, very comfy. But otherwise, the boots, very lovely. Just a tree, an Eldritch Anole, and a craft. We do have the sticky advice right here that I randomly bumped into because I realized my chain belt was absolutely awful, so I just picked up 2 resistances and a life, crafted some stats on it, that's it. So I can add another jewel, although I recently found in the Abyss Depths a 96% or increased effective socket at Abyssal Jewel, Sticky Advice, Darkness Enthroned. So I am looking to maybe switch to that or hold out for 100% because that's the dream, because that also allows us to drop things like Chance to Poison. Our flasks are very basic. I'm still using silver, quartz for the phasing, amethyst to short up any chaos resistance, which we are still struggling with without the flask. With the flask, it's almost kept, but without the flask, it's a little low. And then, of course, we have quicksilver for some speed. I could turn this into gold. And if I have my final version, I might be able to use a quicksilver with movement speed as well as a gold version with rarity for maximum value, because we wouldn't need the divine flask. Because right now I'm still needing it to deal with bleed and corrupted blood. Which probably brings me to my next step of gems before we go into the actual tree. Despair, Desecrate, Bone Offering, very solid. Make sure Desecrate is level 1 to preserve mana. We have the Frost Bomb for any regen. If you have enough damage, you can drop this for gem pressure. Arctic Armor, Tempest Shield, Flesh and Stone. Very simple. You can drop some of these 25 auras for the sake of Purity of Elements if you prefer that. It will also help with your minions staying alive a little bit. However, Arctic Armor does give you a bunch of benefits while you're stationary. And if you use Whirling Blades, you are considered stationary while moving with Whirling Blades, which is why we switched from Shield Charge to Whirling Blades. Especially since we have less movement speed, Whirling Blades is our primary means of moving around, and we actually keep the benefits of Arctic Armor while we do so. Which is kind of nice. It's not really a big deal, because ultimately, if you attack, you have to stand still regardless. But yes, it does add a little bit of flexibility to your defensive layer there in terms of moving through packs and whatnot. And it does get very crowded in the breaches, so take that as you see fit. Attack speed, Frost Blink. Some people prefer Flame Dash. I'm more of a Frost Blink guy, but that's me. The same 6 link, as always, with Chance to Poison, Void Manipulation, Added Chaos, Holy Relic of Conviction, Max Quality, Unbound Ailments, and Minion Damage. I pretty much want to push everything to Woke Gems soon. I'm waiting for them to go down in price. They are staying up a lot longer than I thought, which is why I haven't really flipped them, because I'm going to nuke them anyway and get the Woke versions. So I don't want to waste the Prisms, because Prisms are also quite rare at the moment. Chance to Poison support will, of course, be dropped once we switch to proper Darkness Enthroned plus Jewels, which is what we're hoping to do. And then a proper damage support will be added. Other than that, we still have the Summon Phantasm, Feeding Frenzy, Herald of Purity, and Culling Strike, which has been nice. You could drop Phantasms. They're not really that good unless you want to rely on the minion death equals minion healing tech, which is kind of so-and-so. I'm not sure how I feel about that. And then we, of course, have Withering Touch, Lancing Steel of Spraying, Returning Projectiles, and Life Gain on Hit, which is very, very good. Even with these 4 gems, the Lancing Steel of Spraying is only 9 with 1 craft. So with 2 craft, it becomes 2, which is very important, because that means if we have a 2 mana per enemy hit with attacks, we are pretty much going to have infinite mana as long as we hit 1 person with 1 projectile. And of course, the Lancing Steel has 10 projectiles now with max level and 20% quality. that also return. That's a lot of hits. On top of that, if you are worried about the mana regen, Whirling Blades is actually free with one craft, just cost a little bit of life, and if you hit units, you get mana back because of your jewel. So you're fine. It's very, very solid. You see very similar tech in any kind of on-hit build or any kind of physical attack build typically. So it's very map mod friendly in that sense. I do have a bunch of Ghastly Eye Jewels running around in my tree right here, but most of them are just a little bit of life and a very bad roll of poison. I just wanted to get as much poison chance as I could, but they're very, very basic, as you can see, very cheap as well. On top of that, we have, of course, no bloodlines yet, but we have the 4 ascendancies. You know, we have 1, 2, 3, 4. I did take Misters of Sacrifice last. Not sure if I would do the same thing again had I gone through the campaign right now, but it is what it is. We have no good jewel right here, the Caspiro. This is just like a 20C one. This does nothing. It's dead. What isn't dead is the Supreme Ostentation. This allows us to ignore attributes. Very good. Which is also why we can now drop things like Carnage Heart, and what exactly the reason why I was able to replace my boots and my gloves. So I'm working on that. But I've been trying to play the game to see if I can find something fun to farm for, which will introduce also the decision of what I need to build to do that farm more effectively. But yeah, work in progress, right? Sacrifice, Spiritual Command, we have Minion Defense, Leech. If you preferred the 5% of life on minion death, I can understand. That's why we, of course, have the Summon Phantasm. It's a very... it's a solid tech if you can get reliable triggers on Phantasms. I, however, find it to be quite bad. Very unreliable, but other than that, you can go that if you have better times with it. I find the Leech to be a little bit more consistent, but ultimately it is up to you. You can try either way and see how it feels. Just make sure you decide what to do before you get an animated Guardian. Right now we're still using, of course, the Phantasm setup, and I should switch that to a Spectre setup, but I don't want to do that until I have my own gear in order and most of my minion stats, because I don't want my animated Guardian to die. Spiritual Command, Minion Offense Mastery, obviously 20% cooldown. Full Wheel for Safeguard. We have Purity of Flesh, Sovereignty. Still using the plus 30 because I have a life mod on my chest. Once we have Dialas, which keeps getting more expensive as well. I was hoping it would go down. We can switch it to 15%, right? I'm still running Righteous Army and, of course, Redemption with Minion Offense Mastery here for Area of Effect. We have solid basic gems, more endurance charges. As you can see, life mastery skills cost life, which is why our skills do have some life, which ironically also triggers or helps trigger the Heart of the Flame, which is that purple shield you can see around me, which does give us quite a bit of bonus health. And if you have one with cooldown reduction, like we do, it's up quite often, which is very nice. We also have Fisty, by the way. I like the hard-hitting fists and the stuns. Very good. Very lovely. Anyway, back to where things matter. We have a basic jewel. It doesn't matter. Our cluster jewel doesn't matter what is on it. You would prefer to have life or chaos rest and life. We're just here to get the minion increased damage mods until we can craft the actual 25-35% endgame version. Other than that, they're just kind of like a point sponge. And of course, more gem slots, which are very, very important. 2 mana per enemy hit. I want to get a version that is attack speed with swords, but also life. Obviously. If possible, because the cold damage is supposed to be life, and then we're very happy. More basic jewels. We're still using Resolute Technique. Once we are going to finish crafting our primary weapon, we will multi-mod hits can't be evaded on it, so we can switch out Resolute Technique. I'm still using Sanctuary and Shield Mastery right here, because I don't have a good unique shield yet. The Surrender is quite expensive still, and I don't like the Foulborn versions. Unless I might go mana, like the Chaos Inoculation version. Maybe then it might be nice, because some of the Foulborns have like massive energy shield on block, which could be very fun. I don't know. Tireless, more cost reduction as well, very important. Nomadic Teachings, all elemental resistances are +2 and they're max. I might actually go Corrupted Blood Immunity here. Since we have so many strength nodes, I believe we can also... I think it's strength. Might be intellect. I'm not entirely sure. We can actually get bleed immunity as well if we're willing to invest, which means we could possibly drop Divine Life Flask, which means we can run Quicksilver as well as gold if we want to go down that path. Could be interesting, although having a Life Flask is always nice, so I guess I don't have to worry too much about bleed or corrupt. On top of that, we have Barbarism, more gems, Juggernaut for some crit reduction. Once we can get crit immunity through tattoos and such, we can drop this as well, obviously, or at least mitigate it even more, depending on the tattoo. Cannibalistic Rite with mana reservation, obviously. We have Inexorable once we get endurance charges from Spectres. If I go the Spectre route as opposed to the Spectre-less round, I might drop this or keep it, depending on how it feels. We have the Mountain for more block chance and such, and of course a little Bloodless for more life. Nothing really has changed all that much, because I find myself stuck in what to do. I'm not sure what my currency strat should be. I've been trying to experiment with some stuff with Val Temple. Of course, I've got basic map farming going on as well, in terms of just trying to make some currency. But ultimately, the scarabs are getting more expensive. I've got like nearly, I'm approaching 500,000, over 250,000 kills. And I've only got one natural divine, one from the tree. I don't know what's going on this league. It feels very, very dopamine-less. So I'm not sure if I'm doing something wrong or if it's literally just breach or die. I don't know. I'm trying to find like a fun tile set, but of course with the unfortunate reality of the scarabs being changed or just not working very well with the rogue exiles and of course the treasure and such, it just doesn't feel very fun to use them because you can't double dip them with ritual or anything anymore, right? So like it feels really, really bad. I don't know. Maybe I should still do it and maybe get some blight involved and then try to use the blight heart or something. I don't know. We have done that before. It didn't feel very good, but maybe it's time to just masochist our way through it. I don't know. Maybe you guys have some suggestions. Other than that, though, I'm going to keep farming maps until, I don't know, my brain liquefies and pours out of my nose. And I will see you guys on the other side. Hope your league start has been going smooth. Overall, the experience so far into maps and complete map completion, by the way, I have got all map completion done, has been very, very smooth and on almost no damage. So if that doesn't prove that this particular league starter remains viable and incredibly solid, I don't know what does. But enjoy your ones for most of you folk. I will see you guys on the other side. I'm going to continue Holy Relic and maybe make some changes. Because like I said, I really like that spectreless version. Maybe some occultist action. I don't know. Have a good night. Take care. I'm out.